Hello everyone. I hope I am live now. Can you guys confirm to me am I clear or not so that we can start our discussion? Is my voice is clear? I am properly visible. Everything is so far so good. Can you guys confirm to me? Hello निखिल, कैसे हैं आप सब? Is my voice is clear to everyone? Firstly give me that confirmation. उसके बाद शुरू करते हैं आज का सेशन. आवाज क्लियर आ रहा है? Is my voice is clear to everyone? Okay, it is clear. Perfect. I'm good. What about you? Superb. Great. Great. Thank you so much for asking. Uh, जैसा कि you already guys have seen, right, that the today's agenda is to discuss कि कैसे research paper को लिख सकते हैं, how we can write the research paper. Uh, I'll share my experiences of writing the research paper. I think कि, it really depends on person to person, the experiences which they have, and the kind of journal which they are publishing. But I'll try to share what experience I have gained, what things I already knew about writing a research paper. If you remember, a few weeks back or few months back, I have already taken one live which I have pinned in my chat window, where I have talked about that how to read any research paper. Those who have missed that particular live, you can just refer this pinned comment, and automatically if you will click on this link you will be able to get that live link as well, and you can check it out after the session after the session will get over. So it's very important, to know both of the aspects, that how we can read any research paper and then how we can write any research paper if given a chance. You want to write any research paper, how you can do that. So let's try to understand in today's session that if you are in a bachelor's, or if you are planning to pursue your master's or PhD, it would be great if you can write your own research papers, which will add value in your overall resume. And let's discuss that, what are the steps that we usually follow in order to write any research paper, what are the good practices that we should follow. And might be whenever you are writing your own research paper in your own journal or publications, it will help you all to get through it, whatever things I will talk about in today's session. But believe me, these things are not, I believe, available anywhere, because these things are the experiences which I am sharing, as I already said, right? So all my personal experiences of writing the research paper I'll try to share here on this platform. And I really hope that it will be really helpful for you all, and even you can share this video with those students, with your friends who are really looking for this kind of part, because I believe that research aspect is really very less available on YouTube platform. And I really want to focus on that part as well, because it's quite important uh, to know how we can study the research paper, how we can write that research paper, because so many things are going on in the domain of AI, data science. So we should know, right? From where, which platform we should go to study that, which platform we should go to, submit the publications, how much is the cost required, depending upon different publications. So I'll try to show you everything today, okay? And in between, if you have any sort of questions in the session, please, the objective of live session is because I really want to interact with you all. Otherwise I can create a recorded video as well, and I can upload it on my channel. The objective here to come live is to interact with you all. So I really want you all to ask as many queries as you have. Please don't shy, don't think that what that person will think if I'll ask this silly question. It might be silly for you, but you don't know that you are helping so many people who will watch the recorded video, as well as who are there with me on the live part. So if you have any sort of doubt, any sort of questions, please don't hesitate to ask here on this platform. I'll very patiently try to answer all of your queries, all of your questions if you have. And do share this video if you find this video really helpful to you all. Okay. So let's get started with the concept of how we will be able to write any research paper. What is the format that we should follow? Uh, Let me tell you, when I started writing the research paper for the first time, it was in my master's second year. So usually what happens is that when you will go to pursue masters in IITs, maybe some of my audience is also from MTech IIT, I don't know. But if you are going there, so what usually happens is that those who don't know, let me share with you that complete second year is of thesis, where you used to completely work on your research project. And it's not compulsory to write a research paper, but it will add a value if you will write the research paper as well on top of your research work, whatever you did in your thesis part. So maximum people usually write the research paper as well, because it's a mutual benefit, by saying that uh, guide usually wants that the students will also write, and even the students will also get a lot of experience, lot of knowledge by writing the research paper. And that's what I also got, and I'm really grateful for that. So let's get started, and we'll try to understand that what things we have to take care of, what are the mistakes which I personally did when I was writing my research paper, and I really want you all to take care of those mistakes as well. So shall we start now? Let me try to share the screen first, and you guys can confirm to me that whether my screen is properly visible or not, and then maybe we can start. And do ask your questions and any queries. Let's try to make this live session as much interactive as we can. I hope so far so good. Everything is sorted. So everything is clear until so far. And let's try to now start the today's agenda. Okay, let me try to share the screen. Mm, just give me a moment, and you guys can confirm to me if my screen is visible or not. Right, it's visible, right? I can see that. It's visible, right? Perfect. So that was my research paper. So I'm just showing whatever things I'm showing here, I'm showing on my part. Whatever work I have done, I am not taking any other people research paper, and I don't think that's good as well. So let's try to focus on step by step. The very first thing, what do you think whenever we are talking about any research paper? I hope you must have read at least one research paper in your entire lifetime. So, what do you think? The research paper is composed of which particular sections? So, whenever we are talking about any of the research paper, so what do you think? What are the sections that you have usually find out in maximum research papers? What are the sections that we have in research papers? Can you guys tell me? What is the first section which you will see in the top in any of the research paper? Okay, so Aryan is saying, what is a research paper? Okay, let's start from that point. Research paper kya hota hai? So what is that? Research paper meaning. See, usually what happened is whenever you will try to create any project, right? It be it any domain, be it data science, be it full stack web development. If let's say you are doing something which was not already being done, let's say you have developed some algorithm, let's say you have developed some there was some gap in the development of any research per se, and you have developed something new out of that. So there is some gap which you are fulfilling by doing your own research. That's what you will document that properly, and that paper is something which we call as a research paper. Now, it is not like a resume. First of all, it is not like a resume. It's not like that you will spend almost 10-15 days of writing a research paper and everything will be done. No, it's a bit hectic task where you have to spend almost 6 months to 1 year, at least I am saying. At most, so you can't say, because if you will observe PhD people, uh, which I have seen in my campus, that they're pursuing PhD and they're doing PhD from last 5 years, and even sometimes PhD got extended. So they are also publishing the research papers. So research is something by name itself, it can go at any point of time, at any duration, कोई limit नहीं है. You can't say that you will be able to get an idea in 6 months, or you can't say that I will be able to get it done by 1 year. Lot of experiments are there which you will do, and then accordingly you will decide that whether you will be able to get something out of it or not. So research is something which is composed of lot of experiments, and if you get something out of it, then you will try to write it down in the form of a paper which other people can go and check it out. Okay. Now, Vikas said that the very first section is abstract, which is so true. अगर आप किसी भी research paper में जाते हैं, if you will go and observe any of the research paper, the very first section which you will observe is abstract, right? Abstract. Do you know what is this abstract all about? In a way, if you will go and check it out, this is kind of a, you can say, summary of a complete research paper that you have. Okay, complete research paper that you have. Now, obviously, on top of this, there is a title of a research paper, which as of now I am skipping. I'm just talking about the sections as of now. Okay. Now let's move ahead. The second important section is, after abstract, we have something called as Ansari said, it's introduction, right? Okay, let's move ahead. What is the next section? Anyone who can let me know? After introduction, what is the next section that you have seen? Oh, not acknowledgement, not acknowledgement. It's the very last thing which you will observe. So, what is the next thing which you will observe? Not background and context. Yes. So, as said by Nikhil, it will be something which is methodology, which you will observe in maximum research papers by the name of materials and methods. Materials and methods. Let's move ahead. What is the next section which you will observe? It is about results and discussions. It is about results and discussions. So why I'm writing so? Because I will talk about each and every section step by step, that how we can write that, right? Results and you will say discussions. After that, you will observe the next section is composed of something called as conclusion and future scope. Conclusion. Here I'm talking about generalized sections that you will observe, okay? Conclusions and then future scope. After that, the next section will be composed of, last is the acknowledgements, and last one is the references. References. So this is how the flow will go. This is how the flow will go. Now let's try to understand that how basically we usually write any research paper. Okay? The very first thing which we will write is the introduction. Where our focus is to talk about the background of whatever research you did. For example, I had written the research paper of COVID-19 because that's what my project was. So I had talked about what is COVID-19. I'm talking about just example here, because now let's say after 10 years, maybe the people don't know what is COVID-19. At that point of time, in 2019, in 2020, that was famous because that was a disease which was there, right? But maybe after 10 years, no one like the new generation will not be aware about what is COVID-19. So basically, you have to talk about what is the background, from where you're coming up. After that, in the introduction part, you will talk about something called as a research gap. Research gap. What is the meaning of research gap? See, you are writing some research paper. You have done a lot of research as well. But obvious thing is, that you will obviously have find out some sort of research gap, right? कुछ ना कुछ तो ऐसा होगा जो कि अभी तक डेवलप नहीं हुआ, और आप उस पे काम कर रहे थे, और आपके पास में कुछ ऐसा रिजल्ट आया जो कि आपको लगता है कि आगे जाना चाहिए, पब्लिकेशन में पब्लिश करना चाहिए. So usually क्या होता है ना कि whenever you will see any of the research papers, you will find out that in the future scope section in any of the research papers, they will always talk about the limitation or the drawback which they faced in their research, and that is something which gives an idea to a researcher to get that research gap and to work on that part. Okay. So Bhupesh is asking, does it require to have PhD to write any research paper? No, not at all. You can start writing your research paper in your bachelor's itself. I believe everyone in the bachelor's, they have their minor and major, right? आप लोगों के माइनर मेजर आ जाता है थर्ड फोर्थ ईयर में बैचलर्स जब आप करते हो. सो एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू हैव टू क्रिएट सम सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स. तो उसी टाइम पे you can discuss with your guide, with your mentor, and then you can say that I want to publish one research paper, can you please help me out? Definitely, if you will ask to your mentor, to your guide, he will be always happy to take it, because as a mentor, as a professor, they will also get some sort of advantage if they will be able to publish research papers with you. So that's why every professor is very happy if you are very much excited, if you are very much hardworking to write any of the research paper. And let me tell you, this will give you a competitive edge in your resume. If you will say that you have created one project, GitHub pe you have the implementation of that project, plus you have a publication of that project in your good conferences like IEEE. So that will give you competitive edge as well. So it's your career benefit also, it's your professor benefit also, so it's a mutual thing. Then even if you didn't let's say you have completed your let's say bachelor's, you're working somewhere, side by side you can continue your research and you can publish that. The only thing is, when you do via college, you have a lot more connections, and sometimes college only sponsor the fees which we have. But it would be a great practice, I would say, to do it in our colleges itself, either in your BTech or in your MTech. Definitely PhD people always do. So that will really help you because your guide is there. And then college extra efforts like the money part, I think that would also be sorted. So usually guides get the monetary things which they can help you out. So that's the real benefit which you will be able to get if you will do the publication via your colleges itself. So let's get started with the next important part. So introduction part is sorted, right? We have talked about in introduction, whenever the very first thing which you have to write whenever you are starting writing your research paper is introduction, where you have talked about the background of your project as well as the research gap which you have faced, कि आपको क्यों ऐसा लगा कि मतलब आपको ये रिसर्च करनी चाहिए, और क्या गैप आपको मिला जो कि अभी तक अवेलेबल नहीं था और आपने कुछ नया लेके आए. ठीक है. Then the second important thing which you have to write in your research paper, the second step is materials and methods. Now in this portion you will write like what is the kind of a data set that you have used, right? Data set, be it a real-time data or you have fetched from some website, from where you got this particular data set. You have to talk about the complete description of that. Apart from this, what is the size of your data, right? Then methods per se, what are the algorithms that you have applied, or what are the steps that you have used to get the result. So whatever be the algorithms that you have applied, that is something which you have write it down in the methods part. Then the next section which you have to write it down is the third part, which is results and discussion. Now this section is very, very important. I would say second important section of a complete research paper is results and discussion, where you will always try to define your results in a visual way or in a statistical way. In a statistical way. You all know, right? As a human being, we usually understand more visual things as comparable to if I write simple black and white line, right? So what you usually have to do is whenever you're writing any research paper, try to create few visuals, few stats charts in the results part, and try to explain every visual. It's not like that you have just attached that. You have to explain that in a way that if even a layman person will go and check your research paper, he or she will also able to understand what this result section is going to talk about. Make sense? After that, we will talk about discussion. In the discussion section, we usually talk about that what is the limitation which you have faced while writing a research paper. Like, let's say you are using a data set which is of very bigger size. So the limitation can be that it requires huge amount of resources in terms of GPUs. So you can talk about that. It's just a discussion which is not that much mandatory as well, but results are something which is very very important, where you have to show it properly visually that what are the key things which you are representing here, what is the meaning of that, right? So here, let me go and show you what are the three sections I have talked about until so far. So this is my research paper, where if you will see, the first section was introduction. Although we have abstract, I haven't talked about abstract till now, right? Let's talk about introduction. So here you can see that I have talked about COVID-19, so many things. What is the research gap? I have talked about here that in India, there are not that many radiologists uh, as comparable to the, outside India. And because the COVID-19 disease is very much high in India, so we need some automatic AI based tool to detect that whether a person is uh, having a COVID-19 or not by looking into the CT scans. So that was my problem statement which I have explained here. So my research gap was, so what I have faced as a research gap, that the problem was that radiologists are not there. So we can't generate at an instant the doctors, right? It requires a lot much time. But we can generate some tool, some AI based tool, where we can just pass the CT scan of a patient, and he or she, that tool will be able to understand and will let us know that how much infectious that lung portion is, right? That's something which was a gap, which I have found out, which I have talked about in the intro part. So I have talked about what is COVID-19, what is the gap, and all those stuffs. After that, the next important thing is the materials and methods. Now, here, if you will observe, I have talked about from where I have taken the data set. I have talked about a description of the data. I have talked about proper the link where I got this data set. I got real-time data from this particular hospital. I have talked about that. Whatever things you have, basically data which you are dealing with, whether it's a real time or for training you're getting from some website, you have to mention that. Then, like, second is the methods part. In methods part, you have to talk about what methods, what algorithms you have applied to solve that problem. So here I had used something called as unit plus plus, which was a image segmentation algorithm. In healthcare, it's very widely used. I hope those who have done at any point of time the healthcare project, they already knew what this unit and unit plus plus architecture is all about. It's a CNN based network in deep learning. You can go and check it out in a more detail after the session. But as of now, our focus is just to focus on how to write a research paper. So let's focus on that part. Maybe we'll take a separate session where we will talk about the algorithms per se. And the second algorithm which I have applied is SegCaps. It's again a very interesting algorithm. It's a known CNN based model which I have applied. And I tried to compare between these two models' performance. One is CNN, one is known CNN based model, and how basically they're performing, which particular model is performing well or not. So this was the first research work which happened. Before that, there was not as such research work happened between the comparison between CNN versus non-CNN based model. Secondly, in terms of COVID data, it happens for the first time. So that's where I got the point to write it down to get that research being done in a proper way. So that's how you have to pick up a new idea which was not already been there. If it's already there, then what's the benefit of doing that? So कंपटीशन कब कम होगा? एज आई ऑलवेज से मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि कंपटीशन तब कम होता है जब आप वो रास्ता अपनाओ जहां पे काम हुआ ही नहीं है, तो रिसर्च इज ऑल अबाउट जहां पे अभी तक काम ही नहीं हुआ. So you just have to think of that new idea and then only your publication will get accepted. मैं बताती हूँ acceptance का क्या क्या रहता है आगे का process. Please stay tuned until the very end. I'll tell you the complete process also. So here, SegCaps model I have applied. Okay. Then whatever algorithms I have applied in the inflammation segmentation task, what is the metric I have used? So I have used a dice coefficient. So between the, it's kind of an accuracy in a layman term, which we usually say in healthcare as dice coefficient, which is basically between the predicted data as well as the target value, actual versus predicted. Okay. The next section is the experimental results, which I was talking about. Here you can see that I have attached the statistical part. One is the stats, which is a graph between the CT severity score and all R. One is a graph between FPR and TPR. So that's what I was saying, that try to attach something graphically, statistically, and it's not that you just have to attach it, you just have to explain also what these graphs are indicating. So I have done a lot of explanation here that what these figures are indicating in my below part of the section. So this is the point which I until so far I have talked about. So here in this part itself, I have made further in the discussion, I have made the conclusions as well. But you can make a separate section where you can done a conclusion and you can write a future scope. So let's say you can say that I have done a research so far this much, but still in future anyone can take from this, pick from this particular part and try to do their own research. So this is the fourth section which you have to focus on, where you can write it down that what are the key factors, what are the key points which you will be able to get from your research. And after that, you can be able to write it down that, okay, this much research I have done, but still I think this is the scope in the future where from where a person should, start doing the research if they really want to do that. So this future scope will help other researchers to pick up from your research part, right? And at the very end, what you can do is you can write the acknowledgements where you can thanks all those people from which basically helps you, your guide, your colleagues, your teammates, whosoever be there with you, your family members, whosoever you want to acknowledge, you can acknowledge that. And at the very end, you will see you will have to write the references. For example, you have no one usually starts writing the code from the scratch. Even I also did that. I have taken from some other people code, and that's where I started changing my code part for my own research. So I have used some resources, right? Similarly, I have used so many research papers to get it to this point that I will be able to write my own research. So whatever research papers you have used, whatever code files you have used, other people code file, you have to refer everything in this particular references part. Because when you say that I have published one research paper, it's not only you, it's collective teamwork plus already the people who have done a lot of research. So accordingly, you will decide that you studied from everywhere, and then you will be able to come up with one final research paper. So everything, whatever research papers you have used while writing your research paper, you have to write it in the references part. I'll also show you how you can write these references, but just wait for a moment. You will get to know that thing as well at the very end. So that's my mistake which I did. So here at the very end, in the seventh part, you should write your abstract. Now, what's the mistake I did? Let me tell you. So when I started writing the research paper, I started writing from the abstract because I usually thought that abstract is the very first thing in the research paper. So let's try to start with the abstract. And then it's being one day passed and I will not able to write a proper abstract. Then on the next day, I went to my guide and I told to him that, this is what I have written. And he was not impressed. And he said, where is introduction? Where is materials and methods? Where is results and discussion? Without writing all those things, how are you writing abstract in a very direct place? It's the summary of a complete research paper. It is always being written at the very end. So that's where I get to know that abstract is something which we should write at the very end, and that's a good practice. Once I will be able to complete writing the intro, materials and methods, results and discussion, references, then I easily able to write the abstract as well. Make sure that your abstract should be a good abstract where when people will come and will study your research paper, they will be able to study what you're talking about. Because if suppose you're writing some very complex abstract and he or she will not able to understand, obviously he or she will feel like that, obviously I will not able to understand the complete research paper as well, and then he will not go towards introduction and other parts as well, even though they are very easy to understand. So try to make sure that, first of all, tip number one, try to write abstract at the very end. Tip number two, try to use as basic words as you can. And tip number three, your research paper, in the abstract section, it is composed of all the summary starting from intro to the conclusion within very few lines. So that if someone will go and check it out your abstract portion, he or she will be able to understand that, okay, this is what he or she is talking about, and this is what he or she has done. So here, if you will observe, I have talked about discussion, then references are there, and then at the very end, I have written down the abstract part as well. Okay, now one very important thing is here, if you will observe, I think it's a four size research paper, right? One, two, three, four. There are 4 pages that I have in my research paper. Usually, it really depends on conference to conference where you are trying to publish your research paper. Some conferences, for example, here I have made a publication at EMBC conference. So there the rules and regulations are that you have to write a 4 page research paper. You have to check it out where you are doing a publication, and accordingly every publication will help you to tell you that what are the terms and conditions that you have to take care of. Some will say 4 page, some will say 5 page, some will say 8 page. Accordingly, you have to increase or decrease your content of writing the research papers. Is that part is clear to everyone? That is the format from where you're supposed to write any of the research papers. Now, as I told you that every research paper demands a fee. For example, if you're doing a publication in India itself, it will not require that much huge amount. But if you are doing it outside India, for example, my publications are in Europe, so that requires huge amount of payment as well. But because I was doing my master's from IIT Hyderabad, so all the payment was done from IIT side, not by my side. So that's what I was talking to you when I was saying that, what is the good way to write a research paper. It would be better if you will write when you are pursuing your bachelor's or master's PhD, because college will help you out in a very wonderful way to write the publications. And when guide is there, at that point of time, he or she is already pursued her PhD, completed her his or her PhD, and he or she is already aware about what are the key terms which we have to note it down, and what things we have to take care of. I don't think that I will alone will be able to write any of the research papers. So my guide will genuinely help me out in order to do that. So I also think that self work is quite difficult, because I remember at my point of time I tried to explore so many resources on YouTube, on different websites, but I won't be able to get a proper information at one place, or whatever I was able to get, that was not I would say satisfactory for me. So that's why I thought that I will definitely take this live whenever I open my own YouTube channel, and that's where we are, right? So this is something which you have to take care of whenever you are writing your own research papers in future. If you want, you can go and check it out. The link is available in my LinkedIn account as well, if anyone wants to go through with that. So here, if you will observe, if you will just go below, uh, here in this automated quantification of inflamed lungs, this is the project name. If you will just click on this show project, you will be able to get that IEEE link, which I was just opened up. And the same research paper, which I just now shown you, will be able to get. You will be able to get. Now, apart from this, when I notified that this is the live I will take, few students approached to me and they pinged me that, okay, let's say we will be able to write a research paper, that's completely fine, but in our resume, where we should write that research paper and how we should write, that's a good question. So I thought I'll take that particular question as well in this particular part only. So here, if you will observe, this is my research paper, sorry, this is my resume. This phone number is completely incorrect. Just a disclaimer. And here, if you will observe, scholastic achievements heading is there. In this, I have written it down that what research publication I have done. Now, how you supposed to write it down any publication? If you will observe here, if I'll just go to the scholastic achievements, the basic way or the format to write any publication is that first of all you have to write the author's name. So what I have done is the first name is only the capital. For example, my name is Priya Bhatia. So what is the way? P Bhatia. So last name is the full name. Start name is only one alphabet, starting one. That's it. Similarly, there was one other person. Similarly, if you can see, in every author name, if you will observe, the last name is completely written, but the first name is just capital one. That's fine. After that, what is the heading of your research paper? This is the heading. Okay. So after that, what is the heading of your research paper? You have to write it down like that. After that, what is the publication name where you are publishing your research paper? So when you write down these three things and run this, recompile this, you will be able to observe this is how it will look. First of all, author name will come, then the heading of your research paper will come, and then you will be able to observe 2022 44th Annual International Conference of IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Society. So it's in EMBC full form. So basically, this is how basically you can attach in your achievements, or maybe you can create a separate heading of publication. If you have more than one, maybe if you have 4 5 publications, and if you're doing a PhD, you might have 12 15 20, or number can be 25 30. So you can just try to create a separate heading, because I just have only one publication. I have mentioned it in my scholastic achievements itself. Okay. Second important thing, which one student asked from me, that how basically we can write references whenever we try to write our own research paper. So this is the format of my research paper, which I was writing at that point of time. Usually, what happened is you need to create a separate file for writing a references in your research paper, which is ref.bib. In that, whatever references you have to write it down. So this is how basically references will look like in your research paper. Okay. Now, how will you will be able to get this data, which I am referring here? Usually what happens is whenever you will go to any of the publications, you have the option of citing. Can you see this? Cite this. So let's say if anyone wants have used my research paper in order to do their research. So what he or she will do, he will go to bib tags. Here you will be able to get the latex code, which you will copy and you will paste it in this refs.bib file in order to refer it in your research paper. So this is how every research paper have the citation, where you can go and check it out, the latex link, and you will be able to get that. I hope this is also pretty much clear to everyone. You can even download the citations if you want. Every research paper will have citations, which you have to copy it up in order to mention it in your research paper. Yeah, this is what I really want to talk about from the last 38 minutes. I'm the only one who is speaking up. I hope that now you will be able to get a clear-cut idea that what are the basic sections that we have, how the flow of writing should go, what are the major points that we have to take care of in every section. And tip is abstract should be written at the very end. And afterwards, I have talked about how basically you will be able to attach your publication in your resume. What is the format that you should follow on? Here I'm talking about latex format, because this is what I usually use in order to create my resumes. And after that, the last important point is how you can add the references in your research paper to create a separate bib file and to get that citations from whatever research paper you want to refer that. I really want you guys to, whatever things you have learned so far, uh, to write in the comment section of this video, so that if any other person will come and he or she haven't watched it live completely, he or she will get an idea that what things we have covered up in a one go. It will really help everyone. Okay. Okay, now let me take the questions. I think whatever things I really want to share up, I have shared. So let me first of all stop sharing my screen, and then I'll take step by step questions. Now, if you have any sort of questions, with respect to what things I have explored so far, we'll try to take up that questions. Okay, let's say 10 minutes. We'll take a Q&A, and then maybe we can stop this session. So let me take it from the start. Whatever questions jump up in between the sessions. Let's take first of all Ridesh question. He said, "Hi ma'am, I'm in third year. मैंने अभी तक कोडिंग स्टार्ट नहीं की है. मैंने बस अभी तक बस पाइथन किया. क्या करूं कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. वेब डेवलपमेंट और एमएल और मुझे अभी तक पता नहीं." सी, इट्स कंप्लीटली फाइन. थर्ड ईयर में ही हूँ अभी, आपके पास 2 साल है, तीसरा और चौथा. तो जिंदगी में इतना घबराने वाली जरूरत नहीं है. थर्ड ईयर से अभी स्टार्ट कर दो. देखो, डीएसए तो करना ही है, साथ साथ एक एक्सपर्टीज पकड़ लो. अब आप पूछोगे कौन सी पकड़ूं, मुझे नहीं पता. तो आई वुड सजेस्ट कि एक बार एक्सप्लोर करके देख लो. यूट्यूब पे इतनी वीडियोस अवेलेबल हैं. थोड़ा सा देखो कि एमएल के अंदर या डेटा साइंस के अंदर क्या होता है, वेब डेवलपमेंट में क्या होता है ना. कौन सी स्ट्रीम आपको ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट कर रही है, और नॉर्मल सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट में क्या होता है, उसके हिसाब से आप डिसाइड कर सकते हो. थोड़ा सा टाइम स्पेंड जरूर करना पड़ेगा. डीएसए को साइड बाय साइड रखना, क्योंकि बहुत सारी कंपनीज फर्स्ट राउंड में डीएसए पूछती हैं, उसके बाद ही आपकी टेक्निकल एक्सपर्टीज को जज किया जाता है. सो दिस इज माई एडवाइस टू यू रिदेश. एंड डोंट वरी, ये सब जो मैं बोल रही हूँ, ये 6 महीने अगर आप कंसिस्टेंटली तैयारी करो तो 6 महीने में हो सकता है, एंड यू विल बी एबल टू क्रैक एनी गुड कंपनी. ठीक है. Okay, let's move ahead to the new questions. Bhupesh is saying, if I complete my research paper in bachelor's and suppose it got published, will I become a PhD scholar? और PhDs can be made after doing masters only. ऐसा नहीं है, आप PhD अपने बैचलर्स के कंप्लीट करने के बाद भी कर सकते हो. अगर आपका रिसर्च पेपर बैचलर्स में पब्लिश हो गया है तो आप पीएचडी स्कॉलर नहीं कहलाओगे. पीएचडी इज समथिंग इज अ सेपरेट डिग्री. अब वो पीएचडी आप अपने मास्टर्स के बाद भी कर सकते हो और डायरेक्ट बीटेक के बाद भी कर सकते हो. यूजुअली क्या होता है ना, मास्टर्स में वो लोग जाते हैं जिनको श्योरिटी नहीं होती कि उनको रिसर्च में ही काम करना है. सो लेट्स से इफ यू आर नॉट श्योर दैट whether you want to spend your 5 to 7 years in the research, so what students or what people usually think is कि एक बार मास्टर्स ट्राई कर लेते हैं. 2 साल का छोटा सा पीरियड होता है और आइडिया लग जाता है कि रिसर्च में होने क्या वाला है. अब ऐसे बहुत सारे बच्चे होंगे जिनको मास्टर्स में समझ में आ जाएगा कि रिसर्च करना हमारे बस का नहीं है, तो वो कॉर्पोरेट में चले जाते हैं. और ऐसे बहुत सारे बच्चे जिनको समझ में आता है कि रिसर्च में हमें बड़ा मजा आ रहा है, सो दे विल स्टार्ट कंटिन्यूइंग देयर पीएचडी. और कई बार तो क्या होता है, मास्टर्स में ही वो अपना लॉन्ग टर्म करवा लेते हैं कन्वर्ट करके पीएचडी में. सो ऐसा भी होता है. तो यूजुअली अगर आपको श्योरिटी है कि आपको रिसर्च वर्क करना पसंद है, आपको अच्छा लगता है, तो यू कैन डायरेक्टली जंप फ्रॉम बीटेक टू पीएचडी एज वेल, considering you have a good CGPA in your college, you have good publications in your BTech as well, you have good educational background as well. ओवरऑल पर्सनैलिटी का चेक होता है, एंड गेट का एग्जाम होता है, उसको भी अच्छे से क्रैक करना होता है. ठीक है. मिहिर इज सेइंग प्रणाम मैम. प्रणाम मिहिर, है ना. भूपेश इज सेइंग व्हाट आर द क्राइटेरिया व्हेन अ रिसर्च पेपर गेट्स रिजेक्टेड. हाँ, अब इसके बारे में बात करते हैं. अभी तक हमने पब्लिकेशन के बारे में बात करी कि क्या क्या चीजें चाहिए होती हैं, कैसे होता है. अब आगे का स्टेप बताते हैं थोड़ा सा आपको. तो होता क्या है कि व्हेन यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग द रिसर्च पेपर, लेट्स से यू हैव फिनिश्ड दैट, so you just submit that research paper whatever you have written according to their terms and conditions to their website. उसके बाद वहां से ऑथर्स लोग पढ़ते हैं उस चीज को, रिसर्चर्स पढ़ते हैं, टॉप नॉच बंदे होते हैं, वो टॉप नॉच कॉलेजेस से होते हैं. एंड देन व्हाट दे यूजुअली सी इज कि आपका रिसर्च पेपर रिलायबल भी है कि नहीं. इज योर रिसर्च पेपर इज रिलायबल और नॉट. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट? Sometimes people write fake things as well in their research paper. They usually, which is unethical. Like, let's say कि आपने कुछ किया नहीं, but आपने लिख दिया कि आपके ये results आए हैं. Usually it's already always said कि whatever things you are mentioning, what kind of data size you are using. Let's say कि अगर मैं आपका research paper उठाऊं, आपके data को use करूं और सेम कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में अगर मैं काम कर रही हूँ, तो आई आल्सो गेट द सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ एक्यूरेसी विद द सेम नंबर. बट लेट्स से कि मैंने करा, बट आई एम नॉट getting that response, that answer from my model. So that is something which is unreliable, unethical, which they usually try to find it out. Secondly, plagiarism तो नहीं है, plagiarism check होता है. So all these things they usually take care of. And if everything works fine, then after few days they will send a mail back to you by telling you that your research paper is accepted, or it is rejected because of this reason. They specify that we got to know that this is the reason, and that's why your research paper is not accepted at our conference. Please retry. So at that point of time, then you have to reiterate everything. You need to think that what things you have done wrong, and then again you have to resubmit it. So uski bhi deadline hoti hai, dates hoti hain, that you have to take care of. Every conference have different ways or different dates, different scenarios. बट या मोटा मोटा यही रहता है, यही प्रोसेस होता है. तो आपको ये हमेशा ध्यान रखना है कि वेन एवर यू राइटिंग योर रिसर्च पेपर, सबसे पहले दैट विल बी रिलायबल. मतलब कि अगर कोई और तीसरा इंसान आपके सेम काम को यूज कर रहा है, तो उसको सेम रिजल्ट्स मिलने चाहिए. अनएथिकल बिल्कुल भी नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ फॉल्स इन्फॉर्मेशन बिल्कुल भी नहीं होनी चाहिए. क्योंकि आप ये समझो ना कि कोई न्यू पर्सन आ रहा है और आपका रिसर्च पेपर पढ़ रहा है, तो गलत इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं देनी है, राइट. सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज कि जब भी आप रिसर्च पेपर को लिख रहे हो, तो ट्राई टू सी कि टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस क्या है पब्लिकेशंस की, अच्छे से डेडलाइंस क्या है, उसमें कोई गलती नहीं होनी चाहिए. फॉर्मेट क्या है, यूजुअली वो फॉर्मेट भी बताते हैं कि कौन सा लेटेक्स में फॉर्मेट यूज करना टू राइट एनी ऑफ द रिसर्च पेपर, राइट. हाउ वी विल गेट टू नो दैट दिस आइडिया इज अनटच्ड फॉर रिसर्च? इसके लिए आपको बहुत सारे रिसर्च पेपर्स पहले से पढ़ने पड़ेंगे, विकास. सी, Google Scholar contains a lot many research papers. Usually, it's very easy to check it out when you're pursuing your masters again, or your PhD, क्योंकि जो आपके गाइड होते हैं ना, उनको पता होता है. हमसे ज्यादा उनको पता होता है, क्योंकि वो रिसर्च करके आए हैं और अभी भी वो रिसर्च कर रहे हैं. हम इतना टच में नहीं होते जितना वो होते हैं. सो इट वुड बी ग्रेट इफ he or she will try to help you out. But if you're doing it alone, then the only way is to be very active on Google Scholar website and check it out what research are happening, and then you will be able to get an idea that okay, this is something which I am thinking. Then you will try to search upon. If you will not able to get any good website or authentic link also, it clearly indicates that no one have done so far these stuffs, and then you can go on. But the good way is that if you have a guide ना, अगर आपके पास एक अच्छा मेंटर है, एक अच्छा गाइड है, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आती है. So I will recommend, I will prefer to go for a mentor or a guide. Even अगर मैं आगे भी लिखूंगी अपने रिसर्च पेपर्स को, तो मैं अभी तक ऐसा नहीं सोच रही हूँ कि कुछ भी अकेले करूंगी, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि अकेले शायद मैं नहीं अच्छे से कर पाऊंगी. आई रियली genuinely need someone who can guide me. So maybe when I will pursue my PhD, then again I will be having a good mentor or a guide in that particular college, and then maybe I'll again start writing the research papers. Okay. यस भूपेश, पीएचडी में सिर्फ रिसर्च ही होता है, भी नहीं, सिर्फ रिसर्च होता है. तो वहां पर तो आपको खुद से ही प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट ढूंढना है, और 4-5 साल 6 साल अपने लगाने हैं, और उसके बाद आप रिसर्च पेपर्स पब्लिश करते रहते हो, साथ साथ अपने जूनियर्स को गाइड करना है. तो यही सब करते हैं पीएचडी में. ठीक है, इट्स ओनली रिसर्च, नथिंग एल्स. Can you give us some websites where all research papers are published? You can check it out in Google Scholar, IEEE conferences, right? Majorly वहीं पे आप लोगों को मैक्सिमम रिसर्च पेपर्स मिल जाएंगे जो आपके नीड के होंगे. ओके. So Chandrasekhar is saying, what are the places, websites, etc. from where I can get to know? हाँ, ये मैंने बता दिया आपको कि आपको कौन सी वेबसाइट एक्सप्लोर करनी है. और कोई क्वेश्चन है किसी का? इज देयर एनी अदर क्वेश्चन एनीवन इज हैविंग अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस? समझ में आया? इज सो फार एवरीथिंग इज सॉर्टेड? I hope that you find this session insightful. Whatever things you have learned in this session, please, it's my humble request to everyone, those who really understood out of this after spending 50 minutes with me, whatever things you have learned in this session about the research paper part, do let me know in the comment section. I'll try to check it out your comments, okay? Um, can you explain what happens in PhD? So I'm planning something on my channel. Very soon, it will get started. So I'm planning to bring PhD guys itself, जो कि अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करेंगे एक्चुअली में मेरे बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स हैं सो दैट वुड बी अमेजिंग अभी नहीं बताते हैं क्या होता है पीएचडी में अगर वो पीएचडी जो कर रहे हैं वहीं बताएं आके तो वो ज़्यादा ऑसम रहेगा मैंने तो की नहीं है जब करेंगे तब आपको आके बताएंगे पर जिन्होंने की है वो अभी कनेक्शंस अच्छे हैं तो क्यों ना उन्हीं को लेके आया जाए इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे और उनसे पूछा जाए कि आपने बताओ पीएचडी में क्या किया क्या स्टेप्स थे आईआईटीज के अंदर बहुत सारे नेटवर्क अभी है अच्छा खासा तो मैं सोच रही हूँ कि वेरी सुन आई विल स्टार्ट डूइंग द पॉडकास्ट विद देम and then you guys will also enjoy and you will be able to get an idea that what PhD people usually does तो उन्हीं के मुंह से सुनते हैं कि वो क्या करते हैं ठीक है ना मैं बताऊंगी मैंने तो सिर्फ देखा है अपने आसपास अपने फ्रेंड्स क्योंकि मेरे बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स अभी पीएचडी कर रहे हैं या कर चुके हैं सीनियर्स हैं बट वो आके बताएंगे उन्होंने उनका क्या एक्सपीरियंस है दैट वुड बी ऑफ अनदर लेवल तो आई थिंक दैट इज सुपर ऑसम राइट तो ये क्वेश्चन तब के लिए छोड़ देती हूँ मैं thank you so much for putting efforts in your videos. Thank you so much, Didi, for appreciating. It really means a lot to me, right? Very fruitful session. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in also. It's mutual time that we are spending. I always think कि जब भी मैं लाइव जा रही हूँ और जब भी मैं वीडियोस अपलोड कर रही हूँ इट विल बी हेल्पफुल यू गाइज विल नॉट फील लाइक दैट टाइम वेस्ट हो गया यार इससे अच्छा तो कुछ और कर लेते ये फीलिंग नहीं आनी चाहिए इफ दैट फीलिंग इज नॉट कमिंग अप इन एनी ऑफ माई वीडियो देन आई थिंक आई एम डूइंग अ ग्रेट जॉब इफ that feeling is coming up then I think from there I need to improve, right? I'm MCA student. I want to pursue PhD from IIT. What to do? जैसा कि मैंने बताया अभी बहुत जल्दी मैं पॉडकास्ट स्टार्ट करने वाली हूँ जहाँ पे we will try to catch up with PhD people. They will let you know step by step. I'll ask the questions. If you have any questions to ask from them from PhD people, you can let me know in the comment section. I'll try to take those questions as well. So this thing I'll try to start not in this month as it's already 20th but from September I'm planning to do so if you have any questions regarding this particular PhD thing you can let me know in the comment section I will ask from them and then we'll upload the videos for you all that would be really awesome I believe because I'm getting a lot of queries regarding this so I thought why not to do like that right okay then I believe I have answered all the questions whatever you have asked and with this, let's end today's live. I hope you find it insightful. Please do share this video with everyone. Do subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you all very soon in the upcoming live as well as recorded based videos as well. I hope you all are enjoying all the videos and bye bye. Take care. See ya.